I came across this screenshot of the quarterback from South Carolina, Lenore Sellers, and it was a report that other teams offered him $8 million or an $8 million NIL deal to leave South Carolina and go to another university, right? And this was reported, according to this image that you have here. But it was also reported that his father said that you're 19 years old. What do you need with $8 million? You're in a good spot. The point of me mentioning this and showing this image is it makes me want to highlight, or is having me highlight the emphasis on having wise counsel and having a father present in your life, the importance of it. Because, most people, and again, I was looking at the comment thread and all of that, and, a lot of the comments were, basically throwing the deuces saying, all right, Dad, I ain't taking your advice on this one. I'm going, taking the money. But the whole point of understanding your actual value and understanding that sometimes your situation is bigger than a simple dollar amount, sometimes that can't be seen until you get to a point in life in which you've acquired some level of wisdom, right? It's the long game, not the quick money grab. Now, I know for some people, they're like, you know what, screw it. Give me money in my hand. What did they say? One in the hand is better than two in the bush, right? But if you understand your potential trajectory as a professional athlete, like, this quarterback here, Lenore Sellers, has the capacity to have an NFL career in which he can make well more than whatever is being offered via NIL deal. If you look at the long-term vision and you look at what's best for you right now and your development, and you're betting on your future, it's like the future value of money versus the, present value of money. And if you can see that, it makes sense if you're in a good situation to potentially forego making more money in the short term. Now, that also is assuming that you're probably making millions right now where you currently are, right? So for him as a quarterback of South Carolina, my assumption, and I don't know his actual deal, my assumption is he's probably already making millions. And so making a couple more million or a little bit more, does that really change the quality of your life if that also disrupts the foundation that you currently have in place? See, these are things that, yes, short term on paper, it seems to make sense, but we have to think about things from a long-term approach. And if we're willing to bet on ourselves, that means that we're counting the future value of money being higher than the present value of money if I stay the course. And again, in this new landscape of college athletics where, we just had the basketball, the NCAA Final Four and all of that, and then the portal opened, and I don't know how many thousands of college basketball players entered the transfer portal. I don't begrudge them because, again, you have to do what's right for you. But everyone who jumped in the portal, that was not necessarily the right decision for them. And when you have wise counsel, when you have that father figure or that fatherly advice or that fatherly wisdom to bounce ideas off of, it can help you to see things outside of just the reality of this specific moment. And if you look at it through that lens, again, you're betting on your future being much higher than your current present. And yeah, and it's just fascinating. But I saw this and I wanted to just touch on it because, sometimes, we get caught up in the comment thread, or we get caught up in the what sounds good right now. And we don't realize that there are other components or other ingredients into that mix, right? So what if you're in a situation that maybe pays you a little less money now, but from an environmental perspective, it's best for your development? Maybe you have some pieces in place where you currently are that give you this infrastructure and insulation needed so that you can develop into being your ultimate best. And maybe that next place might give a higher, payout right now, but maybe the infrastructure is not set up properly for you. Or maybe it's a wild card and it's not really worth the risk of potentially taking a step back, even though you take a temporary step forward financially. See, a lot of this really just comes down to what you value, right? And if your job or your goal or your purpose or what you value is cashing in on the highest dollar amount right now, then you just chase the dollar, you chase the check. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with that if that is what you value. And again, everybody's life circumstances are different. There are actually some people who probably need to go and take a bigger paycheck due to their life circumstances, right? But then there are others who need to bypass the present value of the money and bet on the future value of that money and bet on their development and what they could potentially bring to the table and earn over a career trajectory. Some need to bet on that. There's actually this story, Jason Weaver, he's he's an artist, he's an actor and musician, etc. But back in the day when the first Lion King movie came out, he sang the song, or he was the voice of the singing baby Simba, right? He sang that "I'm Gonna Be a Mighty King" song. Like, he was the one that sang that. And there's this story, and he talks about it on a lot of interviews, where his mother, who was like his talent manager at the time, she negotiated a royalty deal with Disney as opposed to taking a lump sum payment up front. And it was a pretty big amount of money, back in the 1990s. I believe, and I mean, I might have the numbers off, but long story short, I believe Disney was willing to pay him $2 million for basically right then, but that was it. And that's all he would ever earn from the licensing of him singing that song. But his mother did the calculations, and she actually said, we'll take less money up front, but they wanted royalties on the back end. And Jason Weaver, in a lot of interviews, has stated over time that between that time and now, he's made well over the $2 million that they were offering to pay him up front, because his mother had the ability, or had the insight, to bet on the long-term trajectory of what this thing could be. And I think sometimes we don't have that wise counsel. Again, that was his mother. That was someone who's lived life. That was someone who understood the business, who also understood the structure of some of these contracts, right? And so this joint here with Lenore Sellers and his father saying, what does a 19-year-old need with $8 million anyway? You're in a good spot. I think this is something that is on that same line. And so what are your thoughts? I mean, maybe y'all think totally different. Maybe y'all are like, man, you better go and grab as much cash as possible while the getting is good, right? But maybe somewhere in line with what I'm thinking. Whatever your thoughts are, drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And again, this is all really interesting because we're in this, kind of transitional phase of college sports where a lot more scenarios like this become reality day in and day out. So anyway, as always, y'all go be the quarterback of your mindset. Go be the quarterback of your mindset and be blessed, well, and wise in the process. And until next time, I will holla at you. Peace.